Hello and welcome to the Subtle Sag. Today we're talking about the Mars-Uranus conjunction happening at 26 degrees Taurus on July 15th. Now, it will really unfold over the second half of July. This is a conjunction that happens every 2 years, and the last one was at 18 degrees Taurus on August 2nd, 2022. So think about what happened around that time for you for more insights. But whatever this means for you, you're definitely already feeling it and have had some precursory events for sure by the time you listen to this video. So I will give an overview of this energy and pull an oracle card for the collective. Then I'll go into tarotscopes, which I'll explain in a little bit for each rising sign. But I also encourage you to listen to your sun and moon, as they probably will all resonate in some way. So without further ado, let's get into it. So Mars is where we look to find action in the chart. The temperament of Mars is excessively hot and dry, and it creates that spark that we need to get things done. So it's what we think of as a masculine, take charge, dominant energy. Now, Taurus is a feminine sign, which is receptive and more likely to respond or react than to initiate action on its own. So you can see how Mars could struggle acting out its inherent nature in Taurus. Now, Taurus responds to the senses. Sensual stimuli arouse and motivate Taurus. And with Mars in Taurus, there's a challenge of getting out of that zone where the senses are comfortable. So there's a tendency to defend comfort and to react when something in the environment threatens it. So we did just talk about this theme of comfort and boundaries with the new moon in Cancer and the trine to Saturn retrograde. So I have a video on that new moon and also the Saturn retrograde period. You can watch to see how it will affect you this year. But anyway, Mars is about to meet the planet that is arguably most qualified to shake it out of its comfort zone. So Uranus's influence affects us more on a global scale, but with each contact with a personal planet or sensitive spots in the chart, such as the angles, it personalizes the energy. Saturn is also retrograde, so the shadow side is being provoked right now. And the Mars-Uranus conjunction could trigger something around that, bringing it into an outward expression. So Uranus is like an electric shock to the system, which can give you the energy needed to blast yourself out of a rut or a feeling of stuckness. And Taurus is about security and stability, and as a fixed sign, it's easy, to get stuck in its ways. So this conjunction is like a personal wake-up call that carries the energy of what Uranus has been doing already on a mundane level, like asking, what are you holding on to so tightly and why? So this conjunction between the two can bring this amplified energy that we can channel when we need to overcome a great obstacle and break free from any stuck energy. So Mars is going to battle of sorts, because he can't really pass Uranus without making some behavioral modification that has to do with the sign of Taurus that he has been in resistance to while in this sign. So this conjunction is happening at 26 degrees Taurus, which is associated with the Seven of Pentacles in the tarot, which is a plateau type of energy. This decan of Taurus is ruled by Saturn and dubbed the Lord of Failure. So Saturn relates to time, and I think that with Taurus we get into the familiar routine, and Taurus has a tendency to equate time to quality as well. I think of this in the way that people with a strong Taurus in their chart don't mind taking time to cook food to perfection in order to get it to the standard that they want, and tend to be attracted to things of high quality that typically take a lot of time and effort to create or earn. But in this decan, we feel an energy of inertia or a resistance to change, even though we realize that something we're pursuing or doing no longer has the same quality it once did, or it never had that, and we've just been waiting too long to acknowledge it. Now, this meeting between Mars and Uranus is also conjunct the fixed star Algol, which is thought of as the most malefic star in the sky and signifies instability, stubbornness, and violence. It also has associations to decapitation, like the head of the demon, eye of Medusa, etc. So I won't get too into it because I haven't done much work with this star. But this combined energy is very empowering if you need to cut something out, something or someone. And there's no one way that this energy can manifest, but you may just be triggered to fight for something that you really want. And in the process, discover if it still actually means something to you, if it means that much. The moon is also in Scorpio, which is Mars's nocturnal feminine sign, for the 2 days that this conjunction is at 26 degrees. So there is a deep and emotional undercurrent, a very intense emotional undercurrent. It feels like, I don't know, all these grudges are about to be stirred up. But anyway, you might fight to break free of something. Of course, this all depends on your birth chart. The activities in your chart are going to happen as they need to in order to fulfill your natal promise. Also, there are other transits and energies popping off in the chart, so you'll have to take those into consideration. Definitely take a look at the Venus-Pluto opposition, which is, I think, on the 12th, and that's in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. But anyway, for this video, I'm just going to pull tarot for some fun, just to get some more details and a flavor for how this could turn out for each sign, informed by which house this is hitting in your chart. This is based on the rising sign, but definitely watch your sun and moon as well. Now, this is not going to resonate with everyone, but if it's helpful for you, if you like this type of video, please share. Again, like, comment, subscribe, etc. Heads up, I have completely cut out the shuffling of the oracle deck because I cannot stand that sound and I don't want to put anyone else through that. So we're going into the collective oracle reading right now. We have the Creator. So I am going to read this straight from the guidebook. Let me find the page. Okay, the Creator. Creator finds us when we need to move the raw and pure energy in our body and allow it to physically manifest. To be with creation is to simply interpret that which is already within us. There are no rules for creation. This card also may indicate a time where you need to protect your creative work. Think of ideas, inspiration, and creativity as a seed that needs adequate attention, nurturing, and protection. If you have an idea or are working on something, you are being encouraged to keep the energy close to you. Nurture the seed, protect it, and keep it within your personal container. Do not scatter or share sacred creative energy with others until you know it is the right time. The balanced creator has lots of energy and finds inspiration easily. Others may perceive them as always moving to new things, but in reality, they are grounded enough to show up to one idea in order for it to manifest. They also have a playful disposition and are skilled at turning challenges into opportunities to problem solve, as opposed to allowing themselves to get defeated. There is a flexibility and fluidity inherent in Creator, which is electric and can serve as a catalyst for others to tap into their own wells of inspiration. Look, we've heard those Mars and Uranus keywords right there, right? They can view themselves as being unworthy, and their value can be dependent on how much other people appreciate their work. They may tend to isolate themselves. They can also overlook other aspects of their life: family, friends, responsibility, personal needs, in favor of their creative work. On the other hand, they may have an inflated ego and have a larger-than-life disposition. They also may believe that they need to suffer in order to create art, in turn keeping personal development stagnant. Definitely keep this message in the back of your mind as you're listening to your tarotscopes, because it's super duper relevant, and I really love this message. And definitely it brings up things that have been on my mind lately, probably on the minds of many in the collective. This is why this particular card came up for us right now. So, anyway, yes, I hope this is encouraging and helpful for you. So, we're going to get into the tarotscopes now. Hello, Aries. So, Mars is your chart ruler, and the conjunction is in your second house of self-worth, income, and material possessions. So, for how this will show up, I pulled the Dawn of Cups reversed. So you might be feeling stagnant in your pursuit of income or hitting some blocks in terms of how you receive and respond to feedback or constructive criticism in your income generating activities. So this feedback could be negatively affecting your self-esteem. So my questions for you are you equating self-worth to net worth? Are you feeling valued and appreciated not only in your work but in your relationships? And if not, what power do you have to break free from this negative energy? Are you letting other people determine your value? This includes employers who set your salary and make you prove that you're worthy of more if you're brave enough to ask for it. Are you feeling sensitive to criticism and judgment from others? Now, with the Emperor card, the energy surrounding this is finding more autonomy in this area and learning to value your own voice and authority over others. Your breakthrough may be a complete realization or just the acknowledgement that you're better suited for self-employment. You might seek out more creative work with the Spirit of Cups, which is about following your calling. You're maybe looking to create opportunities where you can set your own rates and have the control instead of putting that in the hands of an employer. So following your intuition and really prioritizing your values and creating a new path where you're at the forefront of your career and also more centered in your personal relationships could be your response to this conjunction. Hello, Taurus. This conjunction is in your first house of self, appearance, mindset, and motivations. So how this will show up, I pulled the Ace of Cups. So this is a breakthrough in how you view yourself and your self-talk. You're having a sort of spiritual moment, maybe, where you're filling your cup with self-love. Now, Mars rules your 12th house of spirituality and limitations and self-sabotaging behaviors. So it just feels like this moment of like, where you get re-inspired and reassured about your value here on earth and come across some very pleasing thoughts about yourself. Now, the energy I pulled was the Page of Wands. So it's like you have this energy to open up to adventure and feel confident to pursue something new. And how you could respond to this. So Mars is also the ruler of your 7th house of relationships. And with the Lovers card and the Tower reverse, I'm picking up that you could be making the choice to release a connection that has been anti-self-love or fell out of harmony some time ago. I feel like you've been in strong resistance to this. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic, but I see you at least opening up to the possibilities of new love or partnership or a renewed partnership that puts more of your true nature at the forefront and that really incorporates the new parts of yourself that have emerged from this personal growth and this inner transformation that you've been going through. So maybe it's a critical moment in your relationship where you fight to get things back on track or ultimately just decide that parting ways is the best thing for you to do at this time. Hello, Gemini. So this conjunction is happening in your 12th house of spirituality, limitations, and self-sabotaging behaviors. For how this will show up, I pulled the Justice card. So there's some karmic justice and balance coming into play. I think Spirit wants you to touch grass. Like there's a sober moment here where you have to face yourself and confront your past choices and how they've crafted your current reality. So for the energy here, I pulled the Moon reversed, Spirit of Rings, and the High Priestess. So I'm feeling like there's some unveiling of hidden information or wisdom. You've had some blockages or some issues surrounding your health, which is caused by something you do in your daily routine. Maybe a habit that you have employed to distract you or help you cope with stress, like smoking or something, which could be caused by anxiety within your relationships with friends or groups of people you interact with. But it feels like something that's been happening for a long time, like you've endured this for a long time. But now there's some illumination coming for you, some light that is showing you how you or others have contributed to whatever this is. And then it's the information that you've needed to lead you to a response. So how could you respond? I pulled the Eight of Cups reversed. So there is strong resistance and like a fear of change around whatever this is. That's likely a difficult thing to come to terms with emotionally. So I feel like you're going to have to tap deep into that inner strength to let go of this. So this could mean taking on a new spiritual path, a new spiritual practice, but ultimately it's some disillusionment that will lead you to walk away from negative people or toxic behaviors. Cancer. This conjunction is happening in your 11th house of group associations, hopes and ambitions, and earnings of your employer or business. So for how this will show up, I pulled the Six of Wands, the Four of Rings, and the World. I feel like you're coming to the end of a commitment that you made that has brought you a lot of success and recognition. Maybe you're being honored by your peers. So Mars rules your 10th house of career, legacy, and public image. So that's telling me you've reached a milestone or have come to some culminating point. Maybe a retirement is in order, but you could have been in resistance to this for a while, like not wanting to let this phase of life go or close this chapter for some reason. This could relate to some new plans that you have for success that would really put you on a path to fulfillment and true happiness, but you've been holding on to them without implementation because you don't want to leave the comfort of the spot you're in now. So for the energy around this, I pulled the Ace of Rings, which again is recognition and success. So you've really done something important that people are very impressed by, and people are proud of you. And this could be some creative work you've done, or maybe even something to do with children because Mars rules your 5th house as well. Or you have this opportunity that's being presented to you now that it shows you it's time to pivot and take on a new role in life. So for how you could respond, I pulled the Dawn of Rings. There's a lot of Taurus energy here. This is some kind of announcement. So you could be deciding to announce your resignation or retirement to colleagues, or your pivot to something else that feels more like your calling, or announcing a pregnancy perhaps. Leo, this conjunction is happening in your 10th house of career, legacy, and public persona. For how this will show up for you, I pulled the Nine of Swords reversed and the King of Cups. So I'm picking up that you're stressing or suffering some mental anguish around your career and your ability to lead with compassion or from a heart space. You may be working through some emotional instability created by your home life. Mars rules your 4th and 9th houses. So it could be that you need or want to travel abroad for work, but you're being held up by responsibilities at home. Just an example. So what's the energy around this? I pulled the Six of Wands and the Five of Wands. So you might really be spiraling or just battling with yourself mentally. Now, these are both Leo cards. So I think this is really about overcoming a mindset that's held you back from pursuing something that you really view as like the height of success, or something that you want to be praised for. I think like you want to impress people with this potentially. But again, there could be something in the home life that's holding you back, like some emotional bondage or obligation there. So how could you respond? Now, the response could be the Seven of Rings. There's the Taurus energy right here. This is the decan of the conjunction. or the card associated with it rather. So you might be assessing something that you've poured a lot of energy or money into, and now you're analyzing the return on your investment. So you entered into it with high hopes probably, and maybe it hasn't been as fruitful as you'd hope. So it might be time to cut your losses. Virgo. This is happening in your 9th house of foreign travel, religion, higher education, and Mars rules your 3rd and 8th house. So I'm picking up that you're communicating deep emotions around intimacy. Internally, there are a lot of emotions around this. Something about a connection to what you're used to. I'm getting a sense of not wanting to lose a connection to your home, like your neighborhood. But not even just your neighborhood, it's like your hood. There's something about showing up as your authentic self in some unfamiliar terrain. This can be anything from interacting with a new culture or entering an educational institution where you're interacting with people and ideas that are very different than what you're used to or the ones that you grew up with. So it's forcing you to think in a new way. But perhaps you're experiencing strong emotions around this and you're wanting to respond to them by cutting yourself or separating yourself from this environment because your sense of intimacy and belonging has been cut off. It's not accessible to you. This environment just doesn't feel like you. So for the energy, I pulled the 2 of Wands, 7 of Wands reversed, and the 9 of Swords reversed. Now this is about wanting to charge forward with some plans, but being hesitant and stressed because you're worried about criticism maybe, or you just don't know what the results will be. So maybe with this energy of the conjunction, you're cutting through that noise because you have to make some sort of decision, like you're being forced to come to some kind of decision. So you have to channel this energy to cut through some self-doubt and fears and potentially the need to compete with people. Maybe you feel overly defensive, but you can maybe lay some of those defenses down if you get past the negative self-talk. So how could you respond? Potentially, the response is the Tower card. So you could be feeling yourself breaking free from your old ideas, these beliefs and mindsets, and just surrendering to upheaval of some sort, some kind of course correction. The Tower is a Mars card, so it's confirming that there will be some disruption and conflict, but it's the kind that will set you back on track towards your goals and knock out some serious self-doubt. Libra. This conjunction is happening in your 8th house of debt, intimacy, and inheritance. So how will this show up? I pulled the 8 of Cups. You could be walking away from an intimate relationship or some way of approaching one, or a manner of building intimacy, and you might be replacing it because the 8th house is about death and rebirth as well. So the energy around this is the Ace of Cups, which is an emotional outpouring and can represent the start of a new form of intimacy. This can be focused on building intimacy within yourself as well. Intimacy is into me, I see. But I do also see an opportunity here to renew an intimate relationship with someone else, especially because Mars is the ruler of your 7th house. Now, how could you respond? For this, I pulled the Star card. So again, with this theme of renewal, you could be counting your blessings by the end of this transit. Like you could be feeling yourself healing from something. Whatever's being cut out, which may be an old way of relating, it's being transformed into something else. The 8th house again is death and rebirth. So it looks like something that's ending is bringing in a lot of healing and new energy and will ultimately bring a lot of happiness. Scorpio. This conjunction is happening in your 7th house of partnerships. So for how this will show up, I pulled the King of Wands reversed. You might have been feeling like your relationship is just uninspiring, and that you can't give to it what you intended to give or what you ideally would like to give. And this may be manifesting in a short temper because you're being passive aggressive, or an inability or lack of desire to take the lead in the relationship like you might be expected to. It just seems like it's stressful right now just trying to relate. And this energy could be coming from your partner as well. So with the Ace of Cups, part of you wants a renewal and believes that there is still some fulfillment to be had here, and that it's possible to recreate the love and the passion that you felt before. You just need to decide whether to reignite the flame and how to do so. With how you could respond, I pulled the Seven of Wands. So your partner right now could be acting petty, like just trying to win for the sake of winning. You could be too, especially if you're having a sort of public argument on social media, but like through some subliminal messaging, like you could feel like it's a competition, or you're having to defend yourself in front of people, whoever can pick up on these messages. But anyway, something is making you defensive. So you could choose to give in to that, or just set that aside and focus on the long-term goal and fight to sustain this connection and put all the pettiness aside. Sagittarius. This conjunction is happening in your 6th house of health, stress, duty, and routine. For how this will show up, I pulled the Queen of Discs and the Star. So this is about the way you're caring for yourself from day to day, the practical ways that you show up for yourself. So you're in need of creating some balance or harmony here that could be revealed to you through some minor health issue. This is an invitation to get back to dedicating yourself to a spiritual practice, or something with eating right and making sure you're taking supplements. And maybe this is something you did well in the past, but you just need to get back into the habit of it. But you haven't had the discipline lately to do so because you're simply engaging in escapist tendencies, trying to cope with stress. You could be overdoing something in your day-to-day, like work or exercise, or habits like drinking. But I think Spirit is just asking you to find new, healthier ways of coping with the day-to-day stress by showing you the results of certain detrimental behaviors. For the energy around this, I pulled the Moon reversed. So I do think that if something has been uncertain as far as a health issue, or like feeling down and not being able to really put your finger on why, you're going to get some insight, or you're going to be very aware of the fact that you need to get something checked out. And maybe something may happen to serve as a warning sign to alert you that you need to make an effort to cut out some type of negative influence. For how you could respond, I pulled the World reversed and the King of Rings reversed. So you could just keep avoiding ending something. You're in a state of resistance. You're overdoing something and probably feel inclined to keep overdoing it. So you will have to make the choice in the end to find a new and more sustainable way of doing things. Focus more on meditation and exercise. Maybe just doing 20-minute workouts on YouTube with dumbbells, or some yoga and Pilates, like whatever. Something that doesn't feel like a burden, but allows your mind to focus on something other than duty or stress, and that re-energizes you. Capricorn. This conjunction is happening in your 5th house of fun, play, dating, and children. For how this might show up, I pulled the 6 of Rings reversed and the 3 of Cups. Now, because Mars rules your 11th house of group associations, I'm feeling like you're feeling a lack of reciprocity in a friend or another group dynamic. If you're the one who's having to plan events and fun activities for a group, you could be feeling like it goes unappreciated, or you've been wanting people to reach out to you more or invite you out, instead of always being the one having to do the planning and inviting and initiating. This could also have to do with children or stepchildren. You may just feel slighted in some way here. So for the energy around this, I pulled the Seven of Rings and the Spirit of Swords. So it's like there's this energy of wanting to confront this issue head on. Like you've been investing in this dynamic for a long time and it just doesn't feel like anything is changing. You've either been vocal about this to no avail or you've been holding off on addressing it, but it's also like this idea of leaving a situation as well. And how you could respond, I pulled the Fool reverse and the Eight of Swords. I think you're in resistance to this. Like you might be overthinking it and being trapped in a fear of how people are going to respond. I do think that maybe it's not as bad as you think. People may be more receptive and willing to hear you out than you've considered. It's just that maybe this hadn't really occurred to them that you felt this way. Aquarius. This conjunction is happening in your 4th house of home, foundations, and roots. For how this will show up, I pulled the Dawn of Rings and the Nine of Swords. So you may be getting some news around your home life, something about your property or the goings-on of people you live with that brings up some fear or anxiety with you. The call to move from where you're currently living could be incredibly loud, but you don't want to leave the comfort of home, even though it might feel less and less like it with every passing day. It could cause you some sleepless nights. But there's information coming in around something that you likely knew was coming, or you were at least aware of the possibility of it, but you still haven't mentally accepted it or completely processed it. So the energy around this is the Queen of Swords reversed. I'm getting that you're going into this introspective space. You could be cold or reserved with your words or your feelings right now. You could slip into a victim mentality, or you or someone in your home is wallowing in self-pity. You may feel withdrawn from your home and family due to the issues going on, which could feel super overwhelming. So for how you could respond, I pulled the Eight of Swords plus Metamorphosis reverse and the Hermit reversed. So here's this feeling of inertia. You're wanting to just remain inactive and see what happens. But you're in this process of deep change, like the closing out of a cycle. So you can't really just sit in the cave and let life pass you by. You're probably really ready for something to change dramatically, but you might just be afraid of the outcome right now because you don't know exactly what that looks like. So you're probably choosing to not do anything right now. However, I don't think you're going to be able to get away with that for a very long time. It's better to commit to a new course because it's not a good time to be passive right now. So if you actively co-create with the universe, you're going to end up where you want to be. Pisces. Now this conjunction is happening in your 3rd house of siblings, communication, and local community. For how this will show up, I pulled the Five of Swords. So I'm getting some fighting words within like a sibling relationship or rivalry, or there's some resentment that's coming up. Maybe around you supporting siblings. But then there's also this idea of needing to be or sound more educated or more intellectual or more worldly in order to accomplish something for some of you. Some of you may be working in schools or protecting people with neurodivergence or mental disorders. Whatever it is, it feels like there's a lack of commitment to it. It may be about your role as an activist in the local community and having to communicate ideas and being challenged in some way around that because you aren't even believing what you're saying. So the energy around this is the Spirit of Rings. This card is very much 6th house energy, like in terms of routine service. And you have Venus transiting your 6th house, and as the ruler of Taurus, she does have some influence over the outcome of this conjunction. But anyway, this carries the energy of a labor of love, like community service in a women's shelter, for example, or taking care of a sibling. Something you've been doing as a duty, but it's stressful. But maybe like you like the perception that people have of you while they watch you do this. I really feel like it has something to do with community work that you do, but it isn't what you really want to be doing. So how you could respond to this, I pulled the Shadow and the Eight of Cups. So you could accept that you've lost a lot of your power to this situation and decide to cut it out or cut someone off. Walk away, take the high road. Again, you may part ways with something because you're not really committed or all there mentally. But I also feel like it kind of breaks your heart to do that. Maybe you're just harboring fears around judgment, or you haven't tried to change this situation in the past because you feared what people would say, like they might see you as selfish, or you just like the image or the status such a position has given you. But some of you knew you were playing pretend the whole time. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you liked this video and you found it helpful, please share, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.